Hi everybody, it's Christina from Pretty Distressed. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be making over the top of this hutch. This goes with a piece that I did back in February on my channel when I took the challenge to tackle one of Katja's video tutorials. I'm going to be showing you two new techniques that I've never done on my channel before. I'm going to show you how to paint glass shelves in a hutch, and I'm also going to show you how to use vinyl wallpaper on the back paneling to give it a little bit of pop and art. So if you want to see how I created the wildest piece of furniture I think I've ever done, just keep watching. Today's video is sponsored by Skillshare, which is an online learning community for creatives. They have tons of classes on photography, art. I personally use Skillshare to help me level up my content, my photos, and my videos. I recently took a class by Tabitha Park called Lightroom Classic CC, a total beginner walkthrough, and it has really helped me understand how to import my photos correctly, how to organize them in the best way, and even how to label them so that they'll be really easy to search down the road. If you've been watching me for a while and you are interested in starting your own furniture painting business, they have info on how to create a logo, how to create a brand, a business plan. And the best part is that it's less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. Check out that special link that I have put down in my description box from Skillshare. The first 1,000 viewers that click on that link are gonna get a 2-month free trial premium membership with Skillshare so you can start unlocking your creativity. I have already learned so much, so I know you guys are gonna have a lot of fun with that. So let's jump into this piece today. This is the top of the hutch to the dresser that I did in my Katja makeover. If you guys have not seen that video, I will link it down below. You should go check it out. As you can see, I'm prepping my piece by getting it really clean. I'm scrubbing it with some Dixie Belle White Lightning, my favorite stuff. I'm also filling up all my little nail holes and gouges with my dab plastic wood. And I have gone ahead and ripped out all the glass out of the cabinet doors. I just prefer to have the glass out of my cabinets. I think it looks dated, so I like to take it out, but I do always save it in case the client wants it back in there. And I'm using the same Waverly chalk in the curry color. I'm spraying it down with water like I always do, and I'm going to use the same brush that I used in the last video, which is my Jolie small signature brush. I'm just giving that a spritz as well. I find this paint works a lot better if you keep it damp and keep spraying it. And I am doing a traditional chalk paint application by just putting this on in every direction and doing really expressive brush strokes.
Problems will fade if you're ready for a good time. Count on me. There's a party in the backyard. Dance your problems away. I'm all about the good vibes. I know you're all about the good vibes.
I am not painting these back panels because this is where the vinyl wallpaper is going to go, so I'm not worried about having a clean line here. And now that my wood filler is dry, I am just sanding that down and cleaning it off with a tack cloth before I paint.
I'm all about the good vibes. I know you're all about the good vibes. We are all about the good vibes. We are all about the good times. Dance until it feels alright.
I find this Waverly chalk takes a little extra time to dry, so I definitely let it dry longer than other paints that I work with. I probably did like 3 hours in between coats, and this time I switched to a plastic container because my paint was really absorbing into that paper plate, and I don't want to waste any paint because this paint is currently sold out at Walmart. And Plaid is not selling it right now. They are not shipping. Hopefully in the future they will open up and start shipping, but I had 1 can left, and that's all I had to complete the rest of this thing. If you've never painted a hutch before, they are a beast to paint because you need to paint the top, you got to paint the bottom, you got to paint inside all the doors. It doesn't look like it's a lot of work, but then once you start painting, it takes a long time to paint a hutch. I did use this Zebra Palm Pro to get in and cut in the edges. It worked really well for those hard to reach places with my big Jolie brush.
Me again, my
Just like my buffet that I did, this thing took 3 coats. And on my 3rd coat, I really watered down my paint to get it to a thinner consistency, just because I don't want to like really pile the paint on. I just want that 3rd coat just to give me a little bit more coverage. If you are wanting this to be completely not see-through and not wanting to see any wood, you probably do need to prime this before you start. This yellow just doesn't give great coverage. I think yellows are really infamous for being that way. So if you don't want to see any of the wood peeking through, definitely use a primer.
Still dream of you. But if you hold me close, I won't let go again. We have time to grow. This wasn't a mistake.
For my distressing today, I'm going to be using these rad pads from Surf Prep. Dixie Belle actually sent these to me, so I wanted to try them out. They are super awesome. There's 4 different textures. I'm using the super fine today, and they bend really easily and they're really soft pads, and it really helped me get into the detail area. You can fold it like in any direction to fit in any space. So these were super fun to work with.
But if you hold me close, I won't let go again. We have time to grow. This wasn't a mistake.
And here I'm just wiping all my dust off that I created when I sanded before I start waxing.
This time is different, so please do not let me go. Please do not let me go. Please.
I'm going to be using the Jolie finishing wax in clear and my large Jolie wax brush. This is the same sealer that I used in that first piece. I love how this wax performs over this paint. If you guys watched my video where I compared all the Waverly paints and the top coats, there is something about this Waverly chalk that the paint kind of pulls up as you're working with it, and I find it does it less with this wax out of any other top coat. And it really deepens up and makes the color really rich and beautiful. And the buffet has held up really well having this wax on it. So I'm loving this top coat with this paint. And I'm just going in and wiping it back with my lint-free Intex rags that you guys see me use on my channel all the time.
Your way, you don't have to be afraid anymore. I know you haven't noticed. You know that I won't let you go. Put your arms around me and I'll let you know how it feels when.
I know that these little panels right here look like a sloppy mess, but the vinyl wallpaper is actually going to cover that up. So don't worry about being really neat with your lines here if you're doing something like this. About halfway through the project, I switched over to shop towels. These blue shop towels, you can find them at any hardware store. I've seen a lot of people use these with Jolie wax, especially people who sell it, and I wanted to try it out, and it worked really well. It didn't shed. They do break down a little faster than those Intex rags, so I just had to keep replacing them, but it's a nice option if you don't have the other ones. Okay, now it's time to jump on putting this really cool wallpaper on the back of this hutch. I tested one off camera because I've never done this before. I've seen people do it and heard of people doing it, but I've actually never attempted it before. This is actually pretty easy and did not take me that long. The first thing you want to do is just kind of measure out your space and cut it down to size. I found it was just easy to kind of hold it up here and mark off how much I needed to cut off. There were grids on the back, so it made it really easy to just take a ruler and get a really straight edge. And then I just took the scissors and cut it down to size. So I held it up real quick just to make sure that it fit nicely before I started sticking it up there. And once I could tell that it was in a good position, I went ahead and peeled the backing off just a small section at the top. And then I lined it up as close as I could to the middle and the top, and I just worked in small sections at a time. I found the best method is to kind of push the middle down first and then push all the air bubbles out to each side. And then once you get that section really crisp and clean and free of air bubbles, you can pull down your backing a little bit more and do the next section. And that's it. Super easy. I found if I made like a really big mistake, you could kind of pull it up a little bit and then restick it. And I didn't have any issues with it not resticking. I didn't have any issues with it pulling off. So I think it's going to be pretty easy to remove down the road if you get sick of the pattern and want to replace it. The fact that it is vinyl, it's going to clean up really well. I didn't seal it with anything because you're not going to be constantly touching this back. If it was going to be on a drawer, I think I would consider putting some type of sealer on top. But I think this is going to hold up really beautifully on the back of here. I did have a little bit of excess at the bottom just in case I messed up or anything. And I have this cool cutter from when I used to sew back in the day. Sorry, it's totally out of focus. My big head got in the way, but this made a really sharp, clean line at the bottom. And then I was able to just trim the sides with some scissors and it was a perfect fit. Regular old scissors will do the trick here. I would just score off where you want to cut it, pull it back up, cut it off, and you'll be good to go. Once I got my piece in place where I wanted it, I just took a shop towel, so I wasn't using like my dirty hand, to really stick that vinyl paper on in every direction, get all those bubbles out, and make sure it's sticking really well. I got my wallpaper on Amazon, but they sell it at Target, Walmart, a bunch of different stores. Just when you're looking for it, make sure that you get the wallpaper that is peel and stick. I loved choosing this funky print because this color is so outside of my comfort zone, and I really thought it looked like it was hand painted. Okay, let's jump over to getting these shelves done. You will see glass shelves a lot like this in hutches. I am not a big fan of that look. I just think it looks dated, so I like to do things to make it look more modern or more rustic and just make it look like one big shelf. So I'm just cleaning my glass off. You can chalk paint glass just like you chalk paint wood. You just want to make sure that it's clean. I'm using soap and water, and then I'm going to rinse it off with water, and then I'm going to dry it off. Don't use Windex or a glass cleaner because a lot of those have ammonia in them, and I just find it's better if you don't use any type of chemical when you're going to apply a chalk paint. It's just going to apply better if you just use plain soap and water. I'm going to be using Dixie Belle Cotton today. I was going to just do the whole thing in curry, but I started running out of paint and I couldn't find more. And I thought it would be cool to do like the contrast of a really, really bright white. So this is Dixie Belle's Whitest White. I'm going to be using their mini angle to put this paint on. You guys know I love using this brush. And Dixie Belle coverage for a white on the first coat is just, it's pretty ridiculous. It's pretty ridiculously good. I have not worked with a white that coats this well on the first coat.
And I will taste every note. Feels so good when you're in my head. And you're the fire, you're the flare, you're the song inside my head. And I will taste every note.
When it comes to the glass, there's nothing really special that you have to do. I'm just doing long strokes all in one direction. I didn't really want a textured look on these shelves, so it's just easy as that. You just paint it on.
Pick me up again. Come on, pick me up now. So you're the fire, you're the flare, you're the song inside my head. And I will taste every note. Feels so good.
So I'm coming back in to do my second coat after about an hour. I am taking a tack cloth and wiping these down because I'm in the garage and lots of people were mowing their lawn this weekend. And just when you lay stuff horizontally like this, a lot of dust can collect on there. So you want to be really careful to not have dust on before you're putting that second coat on because all that stuff will get stuck in your paint. So I decided to seal this after 2 coats because I thought the coverage was pretty good. I am going to be using Dixie Belle Clear Coat Flat, one of my favorite top coats. You guys have been seeing it a lot on here lately. And I'm using another one of my Dixie Belle Minis. I like to spritz these down and have them be a little damp when I'm working with this top coat. Again, I'm just putting this on nice and smooth, just going in one direction, back and forth, evenly spreading it out. A nice thin coat. I did 2 coats on these, let it dry about 2 hours in between coats. You could do even up to 3 coats if you wanted to. And here is the big moment. Once the shelves were dry and completely finished, I brought them in.
So you're the fire, you're the flare, you're the song inside my head, and I will taste every note. Feels so good when you're in my head.
I pull into your driveway, it's a Saturday night. You look like $1,000,000 wearing that dress I like. You're smiling.
And the finishing touch was putting on that black hardware just like I did on the buffet. And this hardware actually kind of inspired the pattern that I chose for the wallpaper as well. So just to remind you, here is what I started off with, and here is what my piece looks like completed on top of the Kacha dresser. This piece is so cool. I love it. It's so not me, but I had so much fun creating this. The wallpaper effect was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I can't wait to try that out again. And the shelves look amazing. I've done glass shelves like this before, and mine have held up really well in my home. And thanks to Skillshare, I played around in Lightroom and I got this beautiful, well-lit photo. Thank you guys for watching today's video with me. I had a lot of fun at making this one, and I'm definitely putting this piece on the market because it does not fit in my home, but I really, really love it. So if you want to see the process of me putting it out on the market and trying to sell it and price it and the negotiating and all that, if you'd be interested in seeing a video on that, let me know down in that comment section. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, like this video, share, all the things. I will be back with another project next week. Thanks for being here, you guys, and I will see you next time.
Dance until it feels alright. All night, we're all about the